Let's move to some other stories. And as rising sea levels threaten Indonesia's capital, President Joko Widodo is planning to relocate that capital to the island of Borneo. His decision is also about spreading the wealth of the nation more evenly across the 13,000 islands that make up the archipelago. Right now, Jakarta and the island of Java account for 58% of the country's economy. But as Rahila Mohammed now reports, there are concerns that a move to Borneo would adversely impact the very people who live there.
This largely untouched part of East Kalimantan will become the new capital of Indonesia if the president has his way. It's in stark contrast to the capital Jakarta, clogged with heavy traffic, smog and sinking. The pressure to move is rising, along with sea levels, which may mean the city of more than 10 million people could be underwater within the next 30 years. And this is where the city's relocation may end up. Borneo Island, known for its lush rainforest and rare wildlife. While it was chosen for being less prone to earthquakes and floods, there are concerns the massive move will threaten conservation efforts. Activists say mining and logging have already damaged some areas.
A new capital here will destroy the ecosystem. It will cause forest destruction, raise the temperature, risk forest fires, and during the drought season will create a water shortage.
Moving the capital has been discussed for decades, but recently resurrected by President Joko Widodo. Estimated to cost $32 billion, it will be one of the world's largest single infrastructure projects. The plan is to build the city on land between East Kalimantan's two largest cities, Balikpapan and Samarinda, connected by this 99-kilometer-long toll road. The first stage of construction will be around this land. There'll be a presidential palace, ministries and housing for government and schools. Elsewhere, there'll be hotels, businesses and offices to meet the demand of the city's new population. While the new capital is welcomed by many Indonesians, villagers in Pasir fear they'll be forced off land they've lived on for generations.
We worry about the legality of our land. Only 20% of us have a legal document to say it belongs to us. Foreigners have been coming here. It's causing tension in the community.
Government leaders in Jakarta say the exact site of the new city hasn't been revealed to avoid property speculation.
We don't need to ask people when we want to move the capital. It's up to the government to decide, as long as we don't destroy the environment or harm anybody.
While plans are still in their early stages, the first construction is expected to be complete by 2024. Moving an entire capital city will be a delicate balancing act for Indonesia's leaders, preserving the natural habitat while building their vision for a new concrete jungle.
And in addition to that report, Rahila caught up with Indonesia's planning minister, Bambang Brodjonegoro. She began by asking him just how bad the situation was in Jakarta itself.
In fact, it's not just about Jakarta, but also it's about Java. First of all, the big regional disparity between Java and other islands in Indonesia. Java already contributes almost 60% of the economy and becoming the home of almost 57% of our population, meaning that 150 million people live in Java, while Java, in terms of size, is not, of course, the largest island in Indonesia, less compared to Sumatra, Kalimantan, Papua, and also Sulawesi. It means the Java is crowded, and Java created kind of big disparity. While Indonesia is, it's a big country, it's the biggest archipelagic in the world. So I don't think it's fair if everything just focusing on Java, especially in Jakarta, because Jakarta today is the center of everything in Indonesia. If you want to deal with the government, you go to Jakarta. If you want to deal with the business, finance, trade, other services, you go to Jakarta, even related to the industrial or manufacturing sector. So Jakarta itself, by GDP, contributing almost 15% as a province, and if you include also the Jakarta metropolitan area, which is larger area, that could contribute almost a quarter of the economy of the country from that area.
Speaking about the activity happening in East Kalimantan right
Yeah.
now, there is mining, there's logging, and there's oil plantations. What happens to those sectors when you have an influx of people?
Well, I mean, first of all, on current situation, Kalimantan economic growth is lower than Java economic growth or even Sumatra and Sulawesi economic growth. They are one of the islands that having a lower economic growth. Why? Because commodity price. Their economy depends so much on natural resources, like what you mentioned. I mean, oil, not so much anymore because the production has been declining. Mining still there, coal and palm oil. So of course, the activity is still there, but of course, the economy cannot depend only on the natural resources because the price is fluctuative and the tendency today is declining. So we need to diversify the economy of Kalimantan by, for example, services sector, including government services that will be located in the new capital.
So we know that you are going to be footing the bill of 32 billion US dollars.
Yeah, around that.
Where is the money going to come from?
Yeah, we are going to invite private sector participation with many ways. Number one is asset management scheme, in which there will be a lot of assets that will be left behind when we move the capital, especially the asset that now becoming like this building, the office, and other government offices, and it's a huge value of asset in Jakarta, and also the asset in the new capital. So we are going to offer the asset for collaboration with private sector, and of course private sector will contribute the revenue to the government, and part of the revenue will be used to build the capital. Other than asset management scheme, we have the public-private partnership, mostly for infrastructure projects related in the new capital. And third, of course, we invite private sector participation, especially for commercial sector, housing, to be located in the new capital. So basically, we do not want to really disturb our budget.
There's also some worries about land speculation and the price of land increasing. And some people that we've spoken to in the area have told us that there's tensions brewing amongst the community because they haven't been informed about what's going to happen to where they stay. What do you say to this?
The land that will be used for the location of the new capital will be the land that almost 100% owned and managed by the government. So we are not going to buy or acquire land from somebody else or from other landowners, because as I mentioned, almost 100% now under the control of the government. If there is land speculation, of course, speculation will be there everywhere in the world. And that happens because the drive to get the advantage, to get the excessive profit. That could happen outside the area of the new capital, but not inside.
And what about resolving the issues in Jakarta? There's flooding, there's congestion.
Yeah.
Will you be leaving the city behind and moving forward on a turning over a new leaf? Or do you have a plan in place to fix the issues happening here?
We are going to upgrade Jakarta as one of the prominent financial and business center of Southeast Asia. So far, that position belongs to Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, and Bangkok. Jakarta is a little bit behind. So we need to upgrade Jakarta, but we need also at the same time relieve the burden in Jakarta by moving only the government seat to the new capital. But others, I would like to say, the new capital will be like Washington DC, while Jakarta will be upgraded and developed like the New York City in the US.
What about the environmental concerns? East Kalimantan has been considered to be the lungs of the earth. A lot of environmental activists are worried about the impact this is going to have on the land there.
They don't need to worry, simply because, number one, our location is not going to affect the total protected forest in Indonesia, natural forest. The natural forest, protected forest will still be there, unaffected by the new capital. Number two, the city itself, the capital itself, will be designed with the approach of green and forest city, with minimum 50% of the area will be open green space. And in fact, In the area, we already identified some conserved forests and also some ex-mining activities that basically ruining the environmental condition. So we are going to rehabilitate the condition both in conserved forests as well as the ex-mining location. So basically, we are committed to even reforestation rather than deforestation.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed, Minister, for taking the time to speak to us.
Okay, thank you.